Hi, everybody. Coming to you with a late night update. What I've been messing around with that Google is Gemini, the civilian version. What I'm seeing with that, it's telling me that there's going to be a bloodbath in reverse for Republicans if they don't get this particular conflict under control with Iran by the end of spring break. And the reason why I say that is very, very simple. Spring break is roughly that time where gas switches over from the winter blend to the summer blend. Your gas is still going to go up regardless, but with the additional pressures of, say the Iran conflict, well, even your uh, groceries, if you're in the coastal areas, like liberal areas, it's going to be exorbitantly high. And if you're in, like, say, a rural area of a conservative state, it will be somewhat lower. Because I've noticed a weird trend that if you're in the interior of the country, to a certain degree, if you're, say, like $3, that's the low bar. And if you're up towards $8, that's the high bar. And it seems like gas prices are the gold standard on who gets elected. And I don't want to laugh at the fact that people are dying over there in Iran, or any of our service members are dying in this conflict. But I also know that the Republicans are not that fucking stupid. They are not that damn stupid. They knew. Their guy knew. Told the president, said, hey, by the way, you don't have enough munitions. 1 week, almost $1 billion, or close to $1 trillion for 1 week of munitions. Now, you tell me, when a country spends 9.2 or 9.6, and we spend close to $1 trillion, you tell me who is spending their money wisely and who is setting it on fire. Because they're taking with an economic approach that we are using a sledgehammer to swat away a fly, or the equivalent of said fly. And we're using a large swatter, like an interceptor or a Patriot missile, just to swat it down. And now we had to go to the one person who knew something about these damn things, and we treated him like shit. That the Zelensky. And Zelensky understands that, yeah, we'll send advisors, we'll teach your guys how to shoot it down on the cheap. And what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is we are at a weird inflection point. And you know why people elected Donald Trump? They elected their own shadow. They elected what was underneath the veneer of the human condition. It was not just the racism thing. It was not just all that bullshit. It was a human veneer underneath the human veneer. Whether you're a white person or a black person, you elected Donald Trump. 77 million of them elected Donald Trump because he re-elected what was under the veneer of polite society. And what I'm trying to drive at here is there is a war being waged for failed and flawed humanity. And what if we were to look at this kind of backwards? Because Christ has done come and gone. And I've heard rumors that if Christ and I are one, and I'm made in the image of Christ, then tell me, biblically speaking, am I in the spitting image of Christ? Now, depending upon who you speak to, that's heresy. That's being blasphemous. Or is that the Catholic Church's control that they have set up? Or if you want to go in the Israeli route, that's anti-Semitic. But I've got to ask the question, at what point we got to stop bullshitting ourselves and start asking the most obvious question? When are we, as a society, going to take the blinders off and ask, if God has already came and gone, when he comes back again a second time, as evangelicals believe, then he will not come back as a mere meek man. He will come back as something more violent from the sky. And now, you got people on TikTok or whatever social media, those are dancing to the killing of innocent children. God loves children so much. And you got people dancing on their grave. It sickens the hell out of me. And they were God's children too. Those kids that got killed over there in Iran. They were God's children too. And people that have made excuses for their bigotry, it just sickens me as a human being. Even though my faith is a faith that's huge, it doesn't mean I shouldn't have to look down my nose at somebody else, because that is not fair to them. They have a right to profess their faith just as much as I have a right to profess my faith. But here's the catch-all. A day will come where either I will be martyred or I will face worse. What I'm saying to you is this. People are saying, oh, we're in the last minutes, last second, but what is that? That's a fallacy. Because more and more I start thinking about this, I take the inquisitiveness that I have had over the years, and I have to ask myself this honest question. How much more lying does the good book or the Quran or the Torah or any one of the multitudes of biblical clerical teachings, at what point does it say enough? Because there are instances where there was a man that they speak about in the Hindu culture, that a man from the far west, came in their midst and they were talking, I think, with Buddhism or Hinduism or one of the other ones. So he was taught in the Far East when he left Jerusalem. So he had influences from the Far East. He has also had influences from Russia. So you're telling me that he just was there for one segment of people. What if he was there for everyone? He was there to shed his blood for everyone who had come after him. But the question remains, who is that remnant? And I'm beginning to wonder if that remnant had to do with the RH negative and the RH positive. Because, yeah, I was in for a rough ride with cough, cough, but I got through it with somebody who was who didn't get right a certain covering, like the O negative or the O positive, they got through it with a slight sniffle and that was it. But they're starting to find out with more data that people who have Rh negative blood, they seem to get through it better than what someone with an Rh positive. So my question is, at what point did the intervention happen? Because my guess is this: they knew something was going to happen down the line, but how far? Just got a lot of questions. If you like what I do, like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much.